We've just seen quite a move in the White House. Benjamin Netanyahu on a visit there, the second this term of Trump's presidency. And this one is to nut out a long-term deal for a ceasefire, but peace more broadly in the Middle East. During that meeting, in front of the cameras, Benjamin Netanyahu also nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize.
I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well-deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much. Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful.
Joining me now is former White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney. Mick, great to see you. It feels like a lifetime since I spoke to you on that rooftop in Washington, DC, because so much happens every day there in Washington now. Trump's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize by Benjamin Netanyahu. What do you think of that?
You know, Laura, it's going to be sort of decried, I think, amongst certain elements of the left-wing press as a way to sort of kiss up to President Trump. But the bottom line is, look, I've been critical of the president on this program. I've been supportive of the president on this program from time to time. The chief of staff's job is to sort of shoot things down the middle. So I think I'm sort of being consistent with that when I say Donald Trump probably should have won the Nobel Prize for the Abraham Accords during the first term. Yeah. Barack Obama won it for being Barack Obama. Donald Trump actually did something in the first term with the Abraham Accords. And because of January 6th, because it's Donald Trump, I get all of that. But it doesn't surprise me that this nomination came today. It came from the Israelis. It was a smart move politically by them. But at the end of the day, it's probably also a fair thing to do. There may be other people who are more qualified for the Nobel Peace Prize. We'll find out as part of the process. I get it. Yeah. But I don't think this should be dismissed as just an empty gesture. What the Trump administration has done in the last couple of weeks certainly is on par with what Jimmy Carter did in the 1970s that earned him the Nobel Peace Prize or any other president. So be curious to see how it's received internationally.
A prize is one thing, lasting peace in the Middle East, a whole nother ballgame. I thought that exchange between Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu and the press in the room was fascinating. Asked about a Palestinian two-state solution there. Well, Benjamin Netanyahu is talking about something altogether different, I would say, talking about engaging other nations there like Jordan, Egypt, perhaps Lebanon, I guess, for what essentially is a transfer deal. Benjamin Netanyahu, the way I saw it there, Mick, was talking about Israel never giving up the security power in Gaza. In fact, it was talking about making sure Palestinians can live a free life outside of that strip.
Listen, it's just a fascinating time. A month ago, I don't think you and I would have thought we were here having this conversation about this long-term arc of the situation in the Middle East. But there was a great deal of coverage here in the last 48 hours over a proposal by some of the sheiks inside of Palestine who said, look, we are willing to leave Hamas, we're willing to leave the Palestinian Authority and cut a separate deal. And we want our own sort of United Emirates situation inside of Gaza. These are just mind-blowing developments on very, very short notice. You're a turning point now in the Middle East where, listen, things could get worse. I get it. It's the Middle East. Everybody sort of expects things to get worse. But for the first time, maybe since 1979, there's a chance here for lasting sort of stability, if nothing else, in the Middle East. And it's all because of what Israel and the United States have done, along with their allies, in the last month or so. It's a fascinating time. I'm sure there'll be very, listen, I watched that, all of that press conference with you folks here the last half hour or so. That was fascinating. My guess is the conversation, once the cameras are off, will be even more so.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think Trump, reading into what he was saying there, at least in front of the cameras, he is wary about the US getting involved in any lengthy way here, because what Benjamin Netanyahu is talking about as some kind of lengthy solution is going to take some time. So to me, it felt like Trump is still wanting to keep that distance. Talking about expanding the Abraham Accord as well. But what might that look like? What does expanding the Abraham Accord include, do you think?
Well, look, the sheiks of Hebron have asked to join the Abraham Accords specifically. That's the language they used, is that these are the leaders of various tribal groups inside of Gaza. And they said, we want to sort of form our own entity and join the Abraham Accords. That's what's, again, so fascinating about this. You talk about Trump's unwillingness to commit to long-term sort of commitments. That's Trump. I mean, that's just, he's a non-interventionist. He is not an isolationist. That's a pejorative term, and I disagree with that. It's one of the things that I happen to agree with the president wholeheartedly on non-interventionism. He doesn't want to be there forever. He would love to see the place prosper and succeed without a long-term American commitment to security and so forth. The Israelis, I'm sure, would love that, but they see the world very differently, and they think, look, we have to stay militarily engaged. That will certainly be a topic of conversation between those two leaders here in the next hour or so about how the Israelis want the Americans to commit. The Americans want the Israelis to sort of find a light at the end of the tunnel. How do we get an off-ramp to this situation? That's going to be the substance, I think, of the conversation. But either way, Laura, it's just, these are conversations that we never contemplated having even 30 days ago.
Okay, one final question on tariffs. We've seen this extension to August 1. We've seen a few moves there. We've seen the markets also react there in the US. What do you think this means, essentially? So Korea, South Korea, Japan, 25% tariffs. Everyone else still waiting, but probably likely status quo for many of us, including Australia.
Yeah, I mean, the list included Bosnia and Herzegovina, which doesn't really move the needle much, right? But certainly Japan is a friend and a close partner and a trading ally. So is South Korea. So to have them on the list, I thought was interesting. Of note, by the way, Australia not there. And I think what you've heard telegraphed from the Treasury Department is either, number one, more letters are coming out in the next couple of days. So we'll look for a letter to Australia in that batch. But also they said, look, if you've been dealing with us and we feel like we're making progress, we don't feel the need to sort of send these letters. So we're curious to see where Australia falls. But yes, you're right. The two most noteworthy names on that list were Japan and South Korea, huge trading partners for the U.S. I think that tells me that the negotiations were not going as well as might have been reported out of Washington, D.C. But again, we've got between now and August 1st, and maybe, and I don't think I'm being hyperbolic here, maybe beyond that. I would be surprised to see another extension at some point.
Just quickly, Mick, I was really surprised with the Japan move because, of course, I was in DC for the Quad meeting. And when Marco Rubio stood at the podium, he was so affectionate with the Japanese foreign minister. He even quipped that he sees the Japanese foreign minister more than his own children. And so, you know, Japan, a very close ally, a very close friend, and still slapped with these 25% tariffs. That really puts it in perspective for Australia, doesn't it?
It does, but keep in mind, that's not technically not correct. They're not slapped with the tariffs. They're threatened with being slapped with the 25% tariff.
Technical.
I
yes,
can't,
you're right.
But I don't mean to nitpick, but the point of the matter is, I wonder how much of this is negotiation, sort of leverage that Trump administration is trying to find out. We will see the next couple of days.
Yeah, we will see. Mick Mulvaney, always great to talk to you. Thanks so much.